Oh, Nintendo, Nintendo. What are we going to do with you? You're seriously acting like a dick right now, so you better take notes of this because, this is not going to paint a pretty picture for you in the long run. But what are we talking about? Well, you have to wait and find out. So, hello everybody. This is Double RPG here, and welcome to episode 47 of the GameRiffers' own Riff Table Arcade on Sunday, August 14th, 2016. So,
just for clarification, it is the 14th of August. Double R nearly made a screw up.
Well, it's going to be August 16th this Tuesday, which I'm going to be turning 30 years old by then.
Good lord.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Happy early birthday, man. I'm pushing 30, and
Well...
Shut up, guys. I'm nearly 25.
But anyways, you've been hearing a lot of people talking, and you're probably wondering who they are right now, but I'm pretty sure you mostly know who they are. But anyways, as I said, I'm Double RPG, but joining me, we have our fellow member and creator of the GameRiffers, that is FighterXaos.
Excuse me.
Nice. We're keeping that in.
Of course, we gotta keep it in. We don't edit.
Of course.
Unless it's something really... But yeah. Hello, I'm FighterXaos. That was my entrance.
Pig! No, I'm just kidding. Anyway. And
well, I'm trying not to burp, and I'm Omega Mario, otherwise known as Omega Mario 17.
Yes. Thank you for introducing yourself, by the way.
No problemo.
Yes, so...
I'll try not to belch.
Hey, we're no holds barred here.
I like to try and keep an era of professionalism.
Yeah.
I like my streams. Carrying on.
Okay. So yes, we are getting together for this special edition of the Riff Table Arcade, and it's been quite a while since we've done one after the whole debacle with Mighty Number 9 getting released, and with everything that came before its release, and what's currently going on with it right now. But we have quite a big doozy, because this is kind of a follow-up towards our problems with Nintendo video that we did with 16-Bit Jeff, which, by the way, he can't join us again because of him currently getting a new computer at the moment. Also with QuakeMan 224, as well as Carlio, where we talked about our problems with Nintendo, what they need to do to improve in the future. So this is kind of a follow-up to that, but I think we have a lot more we're going to be explaining in depth about this, because these certain things have really started to make us cringe from left and right. And you shall see what...
Oh, definitely.
And you shall see what we're talking about, but I'm pretty sure most of you already know what we're going to talk about if you've been keeping up with the news this week. But before we get on to that, let me ask, how's everybody doing today?
I was just going to say, normally this is where everyone jumps in, but I've been not too bad.
Oh, that's good. And you...
decided to buy a few games.
Oh, cool.
This week.
And Jerry, how are you?
Well, I'm not melting today.
Well, that's good. Yeah, you told me that...
Yesterday was a heat index of 106 degrees, and...
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I was... Boy. Trying just not to melt. Drinking Gatorade, just not make sure I don't get dehydrated from all the sweating.
Gatorade.
H2O.
Gatorade.
H2O.
Water sucks. It really sucks. Oh, water sucks.
You're drinking the wrong kind of water.
Evidently. Well, hope you stayed hydrated, buddy.
Oh,
you ought to be drinking more water.
Better.
Well, that's good.
Well, I do drink water.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know what I mean, but I was sweating so much, I was like, let me drink a Gatorade too.
Yeah. Because why not, right?
No, because, dude, legitimately, I think I lost a couple pounds of just water weight.
Mm-hmm.
And, I really didn't want to get dehydrated or heat stroke.
It
was that hot yesterday.
Yeah.
Today it's 89 or something like that, but it's a lot drier. It's not muggy. Yesterday was muggy, too.
Yeah.
So it's I could handle this. Whatever.
Yeah.
I was born during a heat wave like this, but it's nah, son.
Oh, muggy weather is just the worst.
Oh, I know. It's quite frequent over here, especially since we are more susceptible to tornadoes in this part of the country.
Oh yeah, where you live, yep.
Mm-hmm.
We just
Kind
had
of scary.
I remember the last time this happened was when I was going to graduate college. It was the day before that random pop-up tornado that came out of nowhere, like
Jesus.
Randy Orton, and just people were like, "We don't get tornadoes here," but it was that hot. It was like, "Nah, this year you are."
We don't get tornadoes here, but by God, we do get RKOs.
Some trees got RKO'd over here, man. It was. I remember when it happened. It was so weird. The sky turned yellow.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "What is this?" And I thought it was just me. Then everyone else was like, "You seeing this sky?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay. It's not. I'm not on any drugs. Okay, good."
Well, I hope you're not on drugs.
Drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad, okay?
I was just waiting for someone to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Mackey. Go back to South Park being the detention counselor or whatever. But anyways, Dane, you said that you bought yourself a few games this week. What did you buy, and what have you been playing?
I got Borderlands: The Handsome Collection on Xbox One.
Oh, cool.
That means not only have I got the Borderlands trilogy on Xbox and can play all three of them on Xbox, but I've also got the whole trilogy on PC now.
Oh, cool.
The most frustrating thing, though, I can't drag my Borderlands 2 and 3 sequel saves on the PC to the 360 to Xbox One.
Oh,
so
that blows.
I have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And then I also bought Star Wars Battlefront for like 16 quid. Pre-owned, so EA don't get my money.
Yeah. Based on the debacle that game unleashed after it was released, yeah, I could possibly see why.
I do like the look of. I do like the new look. I like the look to Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh yeah, it looks wonderful.
Because of the photogenic textures and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But no, photogenic. That's a different meaning. Photorealistic textures. There you go.
Yeah, photorealistic.
Yeah. But that's because that same technology that's in Star Wars Battlefront is going to be used for Battlefield 1. So
yes, they are using the Frostbite engine for Battlefield 1, aren't they?
Yeah, they're using Frostbite for Battlefield 1 like they always do, and they're doing the photorealistic texture stuff like they did with Battlefront. So that's why if you look at any 4K videos or such of Battlefield 1, that's why it looks so realistic, because of the tech they're using in Star Wars Battlefront.
That's cool. Well, hope you still get some good playtime out of those, my friend.
Oh yeah, like Battlefront still got like DLC on the coming line, so like they've only got like 2 DLCs out of the 4, so still like 2 more DLC packs to come.
Oh, so they already got half of what was done, and now they're working on the other half. Makes sense.
Yeah. And then you got, I've been playing Monster Hunter Generations.
More?
I've got like some HR62. And I've got the Metroid DLC, so I can run around in a Samus outfit. And all that cool stuff.
Keep talking, guys. I'll be right back.
Tell you what, I love that Samus outfit for Monster Hunter.
Is Strider out for it yet?
Strider will be probably next DLC. Normally, the MHGen database on mobile has like the armor lists. So I think they've actually posted up the armor. So let me see. body, scroll all the way down, it should be... the Hero Sky suit. And judging by the looks of it, it's not out yet, but if the database already has the data for it, then it'll be the next DLC, which is the first Friday of September.
Well, that's not too far.
Yeah, so first Friday of September there'll be the Strider DLC. Yep. And also it looks like the Lucid Robe and the Lucid Heart Robe, which I think belongs to Fire Emblem. So that'll be here as well.
So that's cool. Monster Hunter Nintendo, at least they're doing right with Monster Hunter stuff. Oh, Samus can be DLC costume, but for her own game, forget about it. But we'll get to that, won't we?
Yeah. Like, I actually did a couple of tongue-in-cheek tweets, which I need to find now, because I need to actually get them for when we're going to talk about it. But I actually did like a couple of tongue-in-cheek digs at Nintendo. I went, hey, at least Monster Hunter can celebrate this the anniversary better.
Right? Just like with Mega Man and Capcom. Oh, hey, well, Nintendo did right there. Like, oh, we'll put them in Smash. Oh, good.
I went, Capcom, in my opinion, have done a better job than Nintendo for Metroid 30th, to be honest. The Samus Armor in MH Generations rules.
Have you played what's that game called? Coming out of 3DS? Or if it already came out, the Metroid game?
Do not ever speak its name.
Well, I forgot its name, so...
Good. I'm not speaking its name.
I played the demo for it, and I was like, oh, it's not bad, but it's not as fun as I thought it'd be. It's like, the thing is, like I said it's like action billiards, except action billiards sounds cool. And this isn't as fun as what like, if you had action billiards, wouldn't you love to play that game? But no.
Probably not.
No, I would. I like billiards. I like pool. Trying to play pool with people shooting at you. That's what Blast Ball's concept is like, except not as executed. I think it's because of the 2DS controls, honestly. Like, even if you have that little stick, it's still not the same as another analog stick, a true analog stick.
It's not the same as a full-fledged... No, it's not the same as a full-fledged analog stick.
Exactly. So it's like, I think maybe it's done better.
That's the trouble.
Yeah?
That's the trouble you find with Monster Hunter and 3DS Smash Bros. You can't get a really good feel for the character control with the touchpads on the 3DS.
Yeah,
or the
exactly.
2DS. You just can't.
It's like I get you're trying, but it's not the same.
No, that's why part of the reason I'm glad that Generations, they say, is the last 3DS
Yeah.
Monster Hunter. But then that means, what will Capcom do with a possible Monster Hunter 5?
NX?
Could be NX, but we don't know. Like, if they do come out with a Monster Hunter 5, I don't know what exactly Capcom will do. We just have to wait and see. But it'd be nice if it is on a platform I can get it, because we need a new HD Monster Hunter.
Yeah, definitely. It's been time. It's time. It's time.
Well, we got Monster Hunter Online. If you use an English patch, and you've got Monster Hunter Frontier, you'll need to know Taiwanese to get onto it. So
I can speak, because it's basically just Mandarin. But reading them characters, I get confused. Like, okay, this is a character for fire, and I know the numbers, but then after that, it's like, nah, I don't know.
Alright, I'm back.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with Monster Hunter Frontiers, you can get by on muscle memory, so...
Are we still recording?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I just found out that my dog ran out the back gate and into an alley, so I had to help my mom with trying to find her.
You had to wrangle him back.
Yeah.
Get back here.
Bad doggy.
Okay, so I'm back now. So you've been pretty much playing Monster Hunter Generations more, is what you said.
Yeah.
Pretty much all we talked about.
Pretty much. And then we got into a bit of a conversation about the next topic we're going to get onto.
Okay, but first things first. I never did ask Jerry what was he playing.
No, you didn't.
I know. I was foreshadowing what we'll get onto about later.
Okay.
What was I playing? You know, Dovlar? No, you don't. So it's all right.
No.
Let's see. What I've been playing lately is Tekken 6 on my PS Vita. Just cause I was like, I'm starved for Tekken. It's all I got.
Until Tekken 7.
Until Tekken 7, and then on top of that, on the PS4, I've been playing Street Fighter 5.
Some more.
I'm doing. Oh, I did the thing I suggested in the Akari cast. If you remember what I suggested to get better connections, is to set it to 5 bars only, and to set it to ask you before you fight.
Yes.
So what you do is you set it to ask you before you fight. So that way, it says this person is ready to fight you, and it shows you their connection bars. Because if you don't set it to ask, it'll look for 5 bars, but then you'll randomly get somebody who is actually like 2 bars or something like that, and you'll get those weird laggy matches where people are teleporting everywhere. So I got a good match. 1-1, lost 2. That's how it is. I got ranked up and then ranked back down. It's like, hey, you're good. No, you're not.
And you got ranked up again. You're never going to keep ranked down.
That's how it happens.
Sorry, I had to.
and on my let me play a game that I can't speak English in because it has no English in it. You remember an anime called Angelic Layer?
Vaguely.
No.
There's a Game Boy Advance game for it, only in Japan, right?
Yeah.
I was playing it in Japanese and actually got pretty far.
Oh, really?
It's an RPG all in Japanese, but from my knowledge of the show, and just from my knowledge of the show, and just knowing like what certain menu things say, I was still able. Like I was actually getting the combat system down and everything. I'm like, oh, maybe I should do a Let's Play of this game in Japanese. Like even though I can't read it, I still know the show, so. I could technically play it even though I don't know what they're saying.
My word.
And I'm old and everything. I'm surprised it rendered the video. Because I found a new video editing software. So that means there might be more videos from me. Although for this Rift Table Arcade, I'm still sending you the audio.
Oh yeah, I'll be.
Just because you're more reliable.
Oh, of course.
Like I can still do them. But I think what I'm going to do for future like videos on the Akari cast is try to make them just like a half-hour max, so that way I know I'll render them. That's me.
Okay.
I was just going to say, one way I can sum my computer up is old as balls.
Was that all you've been playing?
Oh, Pokemon White 2. Finally.
Oh.
I can't believe I forgot. That's like the biggest part of my... I finally decided to pop it back in my 2DS. And finally am getting to the... Like, beating it. Like,
cool.
You know how long it's been since I played Pokemon White 2?
How long?
3 years.
Jeez.
So I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me finally beat this thing. And I got the 8th badge. And I'm like, all right. So finally on my way to beating Pokemon White 2 3 years later.
Confessional. I've not even played the Black and White series. I completely skipped out on the Black and White gen.
No, I can't blame you. I played Black 1 and then traded it back in. Because I was like, I didn't get it.
Uh-huh.
And then White 2, I'm like, I'm just...
So I kind of like Gen 6 a lot.
Pokemon X-Ray, Pokemon Y-Ray.
I want to get Sun and Moon so bad. So hype.
Pokemon, where's our freaking Z?
Yes. It looks like they're having
It's
something...
time on Pokemon Z.
Just for that joke. We want to see.
Yeah.
Mewtwo.
No, you know what's funny? There is a Pokemon named Freezer in Japanese. Which one is it?
Mewtwo?
No. Mewtwo is still called Mewtwo in Japanese.
Oh, okay. I don't know. It must be
Freezer, but
must be an ice-type Pokemon then.
it is. Which one? Gen 1.
Oh.
You could... I'll give you 10 seconds and then you can say you give up.
Okay.
Gen 1 Pokemon called
5,
Freezer
6,
in Japan.
7, 8, 9, 10.
Not sure.
Articuno.
Wait, what?
Really?
In Japanese, he's called Freezer.
Huh. Interesting.
So I've always wanted to do a music video of Articuno with the Resurrection of F Frieza theme. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, that hard metal theme.
Oh, jeez.
Frieza, 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 Frieza.
Done by the same group who did the second opening for Death Note.
Yep.
Interesting.
Maximum of the Horn.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it was actually called that.
Yep.
Anyway, is that all you've been playing?
Yeah, Pokemon White 2. Because Project Cross Zone's on the back burner until I beat White 2.
Oh, okay. Alright, for me, haven't been really playing that much, except for one game as of recent, because I recently just got started with the post-production process for my Final Fantasy retrospective for Episode 6, which covers Final Fantasies 8 and 9. And that one game has been... actually two games. One was Gears of War Ultimate Edition I got through the Windows 10 store.
I was just going to ask, what'd you get it on Windows 10? Because I don't think you have an Xbox One, if I remember.
I have a Windows PC.
Oh, you lucky dude.
Yeah, he has a good enough PC, yeah. Which
but
hopefully Jeff will get soon. That's what he's building.
Mm-hmm. But I hope to upgrade to other stuff soon, like a new processor, a new graphics card before Scalebound comes out.
Do you know what, Double R? If Windows 10 code is not going to be region locked, and I go and buy Forza Horizon 3, I might hook you up with that.
Okay, sure.
If it will work region free.
Yeah, if it works region free, which I think it should, because PlayStation and Xbox games have always been region free, haven't they?
I wouldn't have a clue. I say, if it will work, then I'll look you up with Forza Horizon 3.
Yeah,
I'm planning on buying it, but I kind of like to play Forza on console.
When they do the installation process, I'm pretty sure they would also ask you which region are you from, because I know some games they do that. But anyway, so yeah, I've been trying out Gears of War Ultimate Edition, and I have played Gears of War, the first one, before on the Xbox 360, and beaten it as well. Based on what I played so far, it's looks pretty good for an Xbox One, or just a PC version for the the Ultimate Edition or the remake of the first Gears of War. I definitely like it a lot better when playing it on Xbox 360 because of the frame rate, as well as the with the new visuals and that kind of stuff. But I will say there have been some things that haven't aged really well, but for the most part, it's actually a pretty good remake. And it's making
because it's on Unreal Engine 4. I think that's what Ultimate Edition is on.
Hey, that's quite impressive, and it's just making me very curious and wanting to try Gears of War 4, although I hope that someday they will make an Ultimate Edition of both 2 and 3 for both Xbox One and Windows 10 platforms.
Although me saying that it's on Unreal Engine 4 might be wrong, so I just need to quickly evaluate and make sure I'm not wrong.
Okay. But like I said, if it is running on UE4, then that's very impressive. But
oh yeah.
But anyway, the other one that I've been playing that I finally had a chance to try out is the new Doom.
And how are you finding that? You enjoying it?
Oh yes, but the thing is that there are 2 versions of Doom that run through my GeForce Experience app on my computer to show me which version I should be playing to get the best performance and the best quality and that kind of stuff. And it's actually the regular edition, which you need the most high-end specs on your PC to play, and there is the Vulkan version, which will actually make the game playable with even the weakest of hardware, but still, it'll make it run a bit more smoothly than usual for those who don't have strong-end PCs and that kind of stuff. But from what I'm playing...
I don't see anything about Unreal Engine 4 on Gears Ultimate, but it just... Let's just put it this way. It runs at 60 and runs well. There you go.
Yeah. Exactly. But, and from what I'm playing Doom so far, it definitely reminds me of the old Doom, the original that was on PC a long time ago, especially with the mission layout and the very fast-paced gameplay, and it's just the gratuitous amounts of over the top kills that you can
violence,
that you can do on all the demons from hell on Mars. It's pretty interesting.
Right, seeing as this is a vocal point for the new Doom, glory kills, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay. Okay, you're one of the people that actually approve of them.
Yes, I do approve of them because it definitely is on par with the with what Doom is all about.
I know there's like loads of people that are like, I don't like glory kills. Meh, 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 meh.
But that only adds to the fast-paced gameplay.
And then you've got like the people that play Brutal Doom on the OG Doom, and you're like, there you go. People are playing it with that.
Yeah.
People playing OG Doom with Brutal Doom. It's not any different to have it in the 2016 Doom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it made me go back and play Doom 3, and I gotta say that Doom 3 is definitely probably the most vanilla.
Yeah,
because it's not bad per se, but it's way more tamer in comparison to the new Doom.
Yeah, it's like what were id Software thinking. Like, I played a mod that I got with the Doom 3 installer that I had, called Classic Doom, which recreated the shareware episode.
Okay.
The original Doom in Doom 3. And playing it in Doom 3 was like, this is what Doom 3 should have been.
Oh, yeah.
But no, they kind of took the survival psychological horror kind of thing with it, like Fear done and all that.
Right.
And it pun totally intended, it felt kind of alien to the series.
And, of course, with Doom 3, I tried it out on the BFG edition. Which is not bad, but there are some noticeable changes that I actually do like having a flashlight on you at all times, even when you're equipping your weapon, you're using your weapons and that kind of stuff. But there are some things...
That's the one difference I like.
Yeah, that's the one difference I like.
Doom 3.
But the thing that really has kind of me shaking my head and just being like, is the weapon cycle.
Oh yeah, that's just too
basic.
It's not just too basic. It's
too basic, and it's it really kind of adds. kind of funky, but it really adds to the frustration factor and not to the intensity factor when you're trying to switch to a new weapon that you need to use right on the fly, you know?
Yeah. See, even though it slows down time around you, it is still frustrating to use. I didn't even like it.
Mm-hmm. But I guess you can say it was more of a hit and miss type of experience, but it wasn't terrible in the end. Fully terrible, I meant. But yeah, I would say that when playing the new Doom, it's definitely the right direction where the series needs to be in terms of not only the gameplay, but just the overall aesthetic of what makes Doom what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they got that aspect right. The thing is, with the sequel, they need to do it a lot better than how they finished the Doom 2016 one.
Yeah.
According to how I feel, anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I was watching someone streamed it, they got to the end, and I was like, that it?
Yeah.
Like, is that it? Is that how they're going to end it? Really?
Well, then again, you got to remember that Doom 2 immediately takes place after the first Doom, and it's hell on earth, basically.
Oh yeah, but like I say, it was just the way it just like faded to black after you saw something. You're like, that's how you're gonna end it? Really? Come on.
Yeah, I hear you there. But anyway, that's all I've been playing. So why not we get on with today's subject, shall we?
Oh, we're burning for this.
Oh yes, and especially all three of us, and Dane can attest to that too, because I did see his discontent about these certain aspects during this past week, and I figured to myself, it'd probably be a good idea to have him on this episode to to unleash his criticisms, his complaints and that kind of stuff, and it definitely seems like it's the good time to do that. So anyway, what are we talking about? And since I mentioned Nintendo at the beginning of this episode, well, Nintendo has been I wouldn't say they've been really anal and very strict with about 3 fan-related projects that came into the light as of this past week, which were free, by the way. They weren't done for the purpose of money or for the purpose of actually trying to hurt Nintendo's brand or whatever, but they are based on 3 things, with the 4th one that was more based on a YouTube user's stance with putting music up on YouTube based on copyright strikes, but we'll get to that later. But the thing with what Nintendo has been doing is they've been really strict and very, very, very draconian when it comes to people working on fan projects that are in relation to Nintendo's works or even their IPs. IPs.
They've basically been the no fun police.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like they're the kind of people you do not want to see at a party. Like they'd be like the ones going, "Oh, you can't touch this. You can't touch the punch. It's not for you. Go away. It's ours."
Yeah, exactly.
All snobby and the kind of guys you want to punch.
Yes. and what are those fan projects we're talking about? Well, the first one related to a remake of Metroid 2: The Return of Samus, which was on the Game Boy, but made it onto the PC as a free to download, as a freeware remake of that game, and it's called AM2R, or it's abbreviated for Another Metroid 2 Remake. The second one was somebody managed to get the first 13 years of Nintendo Power's magazines up on archive.org or archives.com or whatever the name of the website is, and to have people actually view all those issues of Nintendo Power's magazine all the way up until 2001, I think, to where they can
something like that. Yeah, where they can via high res page scans.
Mm-hmm, high res page scans, and people can actually view them. I think it was through a special type of interface online, or was it through Adobe Reader with PDFs?
I can't remember because I only heard about the archives. I didn't actually go to look at them. So.
Mm-hmm. And the other, which came out as of this past week, which was the most recent, was a Pokemon fan game that's kind of in the same vein, or that is in the same vein as mostly all the main series Pokemon installments that are on the handhelds, like Red, Blue, Yellow, and even Gold, Silver, Ruby, Sapphire, Black and White, Pearl and Diamond, and even X and Y, and the upcoming Sun and Moon. There's this new Pokemon game that came out on PC called Pokemon Uranium. Mm-hmm. And which I think is the only one out of these three, out of the two games that we mentioned, that were actually original works.
Yeah,
and not,
it was actually...
Yeah.
They were using fake mon. They weren't... Other than the name Pokemon, it was their original characters, original story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so...
original characters do not steal, Nintendo.
Yes. So everything was original from that part, but yes, out of all those three things, Nintendo sent out DMCA lawsuits or, claims towards these websites that were making these fan projects and, these free things show up online for people to actually view or for people to actually play for free, and they immediately got shut down. So that's basically what happened within this past week. And I gotta say, what the stuff with what Nintendo has been doing as of this past week, especially when it comes to, stuff that they actually made that were, where they weren't even asking for money, as with people who were wanting to give better appreciation towards franchises that needed some, good publicity and good limelight in terms of, like, free publicity and all that stuff, has not really been favorable to Nintendo, and now they're just being the no fun police, as Dana says, and just being a total dick to everybody. So, yes.
Yeah. I think, as I was saying to Jerry while you were gone, another Metroid 2 remake came out at the time of Metroid's 30th anniversary in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we have a game coming out for the 3DS called Federation Force. I'm not saying the series' title with it because it's akin to...
But now you reminded me of the name, because I was talking earlier how I didn't remember the name.
Yeah, it's akin to what Nintendo did with Rare in terms of Dinosaur Planet when they rebranded that as Star Fox Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on Twitter, on the 11th of August, so it was a few days ago, it was during this week, I wrote a tweet saying, how to celebrate Metroid's 30th birthday the Nintendo way. 1. Give a tip to a game no one really wants. 2. Shut down the better fan project. 3, I couldn't actually fit this in the tweet, but this is what I was going to say. 3, profit. According to Nintendo, ...
Yeah, we can definitely put it in that perspective. So, yes. Jerry, your thoughts on many of these projects that have been hit by the no fun police, basically?
I mean, I get that Nintendo's within their legal rights. At least for the Metroid remake, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. Because it's still not profit, but Pokemon Uranium is the one where I'm really shaking my head at. It's like, okay, they're using original characters, other than name Pokemon, and a similar concept. Which
the thing is about Pokemon Uranium, so I cut you off, Jerry. The thing about Pokemon Uranium, from what I've seen, is that it's original story. So, in other words, it's not. If we go by what BlazeHedgehog did in his video about these things, it's not stepping on the Pokemon franchise because it's its own Pokemon and its own story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's saying go and support it by buying the Pokemon games, like the Metroid remake does, and any other fan game I've seen during the history of observing the fan game scene, especially what with Christian Whitehead and Stealth and Pagoda West Games now working on Sonic Mania, because obviously in this, what I'm getting at is Sega does what Nintendo don't and hire fan game creators.
Yeah, if they're that talented, hire them.
Oh, of course.
What I don't get is it's not for profit. It's like, not like it is, because Nintendo is still stuck in, I don't know what year.
80s.
At least. Because they think, oh, well, they're just using our property without our permission, go down. It's like, this is the year of the internet, mobile, social media and all that, where all this is giving you free publicity, and they're not making any profit.
Yeah. They're just doing it for free.
This isn't the old times where they're pirates and everything. They're not pirating. They made this from scratch. Pokemon, I know, is made from scratch because it took them 9 years. What is the Metroid game also made from scratch, or is that using assets?
Another Metroid 2
I would
remake,
say...
from what I heard, was 10 years.
11 years, actually.
So that
10 years.
Also been
but
years.
I would say about 95 to 99% of all the assets in that game were made from scratch.
Which makes even less sense to go after it. Then they're not using your assets. They're not taking from you anything. They're even. I do get the legal part of it. I do. I do get from Nintendo's side, but it's just. It doesn't seem to be worth it to do those takedown notices.
But if by talking about
it seems more worth it
all
to
these things
let
and what
them market for you.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but since we're talking about all of them at once, let's just go down the list here one by one, and so that way we'll make this more, constrained and streamlined and everything. So, a Metroid 2 remake. I take it that none of you have actually tried another Metroid 2 remake.
Nope.
I have played another Metroid 2 remake.
Oh, you played a little bit of it?
Yep, I've played about an hour or two of it.
Yeah, I'm about the same as you, Dane. I played a little bit, and I gotta say,
I knew by the time I get the chance to it'd be down.
From a fan perspective, and from a fan's dedication towards the Metroid franchise, as well as giving honor to the 30th anniversary of the series, it's a very impressive and very honorable remake.
Yeah, it definitely takes the idea from, like, how the original 1986 Metroid?
Yes.
Yeah, because obviously it's 30th anniversary. It was like how Zero Mission was a great upgrade to the 86 version. It's more or less taken the ideas as well from Fusion and Super to put into Metroid 2. So another Metroid 2 remake is basically Zero Mission for Metroid 2.
And God, did I love Zero Mission.
Oh yeah, and most of the stuff that that the guy did for the Metroid 2 remake, especially adding in all the gameplay elements from like Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission into Metroid 2 remake, it actually made the experience a lot more enjoyable and a lot more streamlined, and it actually made it easier to navigate through the whole game, because when playing the original Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, it's like one of the few games I felt did not age well.
No. If you play it nowadays on like eShop or just eShop or the original cartridge, it does feel very
archaic,
closed in, and archaic as well. It's just very closed in. But when you look at it against another Metroid 2 remake, you can actually get a more better grasp of what SR388 was. Because don't forget, in Fusion we only see a brief snippet of SR388.
Oh yeah.
Because we see Samus get hit by the X-Parasite, and
right,
and that's what causes Fusion. So we don't see SR388 after that. But you get a more general scope of what the planet looks like on another Metroid 2 remake. And also, it makes it easier to sequence break on another Metroid 2 remake, because you can get the spider ball before you even get the bombs and the charge beam.
Yeah, that's the ironic part about it too. And even with the level design of all the different locations you go within the planet SR388, some of the aesthetics within the level design actually were look like something that you could actually see for something on the Game Boy Advance that wasn't done before, like going through like the ventilation shaft or whatever when you're in that one area within the planet, within that one building or whatever it is. When, with the fans turning and whichever side that Samus is on, she can, it's like one of those things that it makes it feel very fresh and very fun that hasn't been done in a Metroid game ever since. And
basically, I can't remember if you remember in Zero Mission. There was one point where you got missiles or whatever, and there was just like all of a sudden these two plant things that just come up, and you have to fight like a boss midway through, and you're like, that weren't in the original game.
Yeah. And speaking of bosses, with the Metroids being bosses, there's one thing that these bosses have that make the others, while they seem decent, but just incredibly lacking in for challenge, and that is artificial intelligence. You go up against a Metroid in another Metroid 2 remake, those little fuckers are smart. Yeah,
they will adapt to where your missiles are going. Because I watched Vinny from Fine Source play another Metroid 2 remake, and he had a vendetta to try and get a super missile shot, because super missiles, as we know, are 5 times damage of a normal missile.
Of course.
And he was trying to 2-shot the Metroids, and my god, they are so slippery. It took him a long time to even get the 2-shot.
Like I said,
because of the fact they just keep dodging, or they manage to put up something that gives them like an invincibility frames, or...
Like I said, those little bastards have very smart artificial intelligence. Yeah, and it really gets scarier too when you fight the more advanced forms, like the Gamma form, for instance. Because I tried to face it once with just using regular missiles, I got my ass handed to me.
I don't think I've encountered one yet.
Oh, right.
I don't know by the way that
Gamma forms.
We're all saying it's
right, that's right. Metroid 2 has all those different Metroid forms.
Yeah, Alpha forms, Gamma, and I think you have Beta forms, but no Omega form, because that was exclusive to Metroid Fusion.
Yeah. I don't even think I've actually got that far, so you wouldn't really be surprised if they do insert the Omega Metroid.
Well, if they did, that's a good Easter egg. And, I always like that about remakes. They always had some little new incentives, like maybe a new boss fight or some things from old installments into this newer one, because it does add more to the freshness factor instead of just being a full static remake.
I was going to say, talking about the remake, they've done some of the bosses in such cool ways now. Because in Fusion, when you see the armadillo-y kind of boss, I can't remember its name now.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, though. It's the very first one you fight.
Yeah, they changed it up in another Metroid 2 remake, where you obviously damage it, but you've got like these 6 electric things on both sides, and you have to use your bombs to launch him into them. Oh man! And
we're not sure, but we'll just say Nintendo in general. Just coming from them, it was a really big slap in the face to to not only the creator, who wanted to do something very honorable to honor Metroid's 30th anniversary, but it's also a slap in the face to everybody who was, very, very anxious and wanting to try it out right away when they didn't even have the time when it officially went up.
I'm going to make another point to BlazeHedgehog's video about this, because he also stated that during the development of another Metroid 2 remake, there were demos of the game.
Yes.
And BlazeHedgehog made a point of how did Nintendo let it get this far? before actually doing anything.
Exactly.
Like before doing anything big, such as this.
Mm-hmm. Because we know that other companies have actually done that before an actual project came to release. Like Square Enix, for example, they've been notorious with canceling fan projects before they're completed, like Chrono Trigger Resurrection and even Chrono Trigger Crimson Echoes, the fan-made hack for the Super Nintendo version of Chrono Trigger, which then got released as Edge of Eternity or whatever it's called, or Edge of Reality, or End of Reality, or End of Eternity, or whatever it is. But yeah, they've been known to do that before that actual projects come out. But Nintendo actually issuing the DMCA claims right after the project's release, you got to admit that's pretty dickish.
Yeah, and of course, people are like, especially like I say, Vinny from Fine Source. He was like, "I wonder how Nintendo are going to celebrate the birthday." Still no tweet yet. Blah 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 blah. And then I looked on the Twitter, and and they just give a tip for Blast Ball. Like no happy birthday Metroid or anything. It's just a tip for Blast Ball. And you had fans in there saying, "Oh, that's a fantastic way to celebrate one of your franchise's birthday, isn't it, Nintendo?"
Yeah, that's like, it's at that point where for a fact that Nintendo doesn't know what to do with the Metroid IP, or they just completely lost faith in it after, Other M's poor reception and sales, which, it wasn't necessarily poor in terms of the reception, but sales were another figure. But the game itself, it was more of a hit and miss type of thing. I know a lot of people like to shit on it because they felt that there were lots of things that tarnished the name, the Metroid brand name, especially when it comes to Samus's characterization and all that kind of stuff. But when you look at it, when you look at it for what it is, it's really not that bad of a game itself. But at least at least did something to try to honor the series' 25th anniversary, which was coming up at the time.
Oh, definitely.
And it was a main installment as well.
I think it was BlazeHedgehog again in his video, or someone else. They were saying like companies that could have potentially made a Metroid game for like Nintendo. You've got like Wave Forward with Shantae. You got the company that made Guacamelee, because that's a Metroidvania game.
Oh yes.
You got Shovel Knight.
Yeah,
I can imagine Yacht Club making a Metroidvania in the style of like Shovel Knight or whatever. And I can't remember any of the other companies, but there is like a potential there in terms of like gaming companies that would be up for making a Metroid game. And you gotta also admit too that certain IPs back in the past that actually were very well received and very nicely and critically very receptive upon their releases, there's still a huge dedicated amount of gamers who still enjoy those old school type of games. So, it's one of those things where Nintendo is trying to keep everything fresh with trying to actually make things go forward as, as technology gets bigger and better. But it's one of those things like you need to really, work on more scaled down projects to where that actually retraces back some of the franchise's old roots. I mean, I know a lot of people want a new 2D Mario game that's kind of in the vein of either Super Mario Bros. 3 or Super Mario World, and not done in the new Super Mario Bros. Form, because that's considered a 2.5D. Yeah, see, the closest you got to that was New Super Mario Bros. 2 on the 3DS.
Yeah, that was the
because of the that was like because of the raccoon feather back.
But I'm just talking about like the 2D sprite aesthetic, not like the 3D visuals in the 2.5D setting. There's people like that who want that. And, it's like it's better that you have this incentive where you actually can hire other developers, to actually work on these, smaller projects that are in the, in the same vein as the ones that we saw from like, the NES era, the SNES era, or even the Game Boy Advance era, because, doing stuff like that, that's guaranteed to add more money into your war chest, Nintendo, because there's still a strong market for that.
basically, what they could do is they could do what Sega has done and go to the person that made another Metroid 2 remake and said, look, is there any way we can take what you've done and put it on 3DS?
If they did that,
or the Wii U.
If they did that, oh man, that probably would have been good. That would have been a smart move for Nintendo, and that would have added a much bigger and better message towards them as a whole. Because you got to also understand too that they have a new console that's coming out in by May of 2017, and now's not the good time to have bad press around them or for them to induce bad press on themselves.
No, and also there was another game that I wanted to bring an example of, and that was the Streets of Rage remake from Bomber Games. Sega, like years ago, gave that C&D, but like I said, with Sonic Mania, Sega have kind of turned around slightly. Of course, they will still do things to protect their IP, obviously, as with all companies would, but it's just the fact of the matter is when we saw the 25th anniversary of the Sega, like the Sonic franchise, and you just see Christian Whitehead and all that come out, and they say, "Oh, we're working on Sonic Mania." I sat there and I was like, "Hold on a minute, Christian Whitehead, great. Headcanon, wait, that's Stealth." I was like, also good. And then when they went Padoga West, I was like, "Who are they?" Because I didn't know who they were.
Right.
I just thought they were some indie company that's just like a new startup. Obviously it was a new startup because of reasons, and then I looked into it more, and people were like, oh yeah, they're the guys that made the amazing Sonic 2 HD. And I was like, I followed all these on Sonic Retro, and Sega's now hired them. Now we're going to get a 2D Sonic game that is going to be the true Sonic 4.
Oh man.
Because we all know what Sonic 4 was like. But yeah, back to Metroid. This is something I can't understand why Nintendo won't do.
But, a lot of people have also been asking too, and, to kind of move this along too, was Nintendo in the right to actually, have the game taken down? And I know the truth may be harsh, but in actuality, they were in their legal right to take it down. And BlazeHedgehog made this a good point too, because he brought up 3 golden rules in order for like fan projects to actually be legit and okay to be passed along, for them to actually be worthy of just being distributed out, even if they were for free. And these 3 golden rules are: 1, that the project must not be done for money, like Kickstarter or Patreon, which we actually have seen some things from Kickstarter and Patreon where people were asking for money to work on these projects, which used Nintendo's IPs in order to actually make them a reality. And
Super Mario Brothers Z was one of them.
Yes, Super Mario Brothers Z was one of them, and I think there was a live-action Metroid short film that was supposedly in the works that went through a Kickstarter, but that immediately got shut down by Nintendo because they were asking for money. So Nintendo was in their legal rights to get that taken down. And I can't remember, but I think there were some other things that came along as well, to where certain crowdfunding or just asking for money to fund these projects that use the Nintendo IP is what led to them getting lawsuits or just the DMCA claims on them, because they were essentially asking for money to develop the games. And if you if you do something like that, then that's not gonna, Nintendo is within their own right to stop you. So you got to make sure that your fan projects are for free. And because he said that they make sure that they're not done for profit, or they're non-profit types of things. Now, the second golden rule is that and this is the one where it hits the nail on the head for another Metroid 2 remake, is that any fan-created games should not be based on anything that a main series existing work has already been established. For example, Metroid 2: The Return of Samus, which another Metroid 2 remake is based after. Why? Because, Nintendo got the impression that with AM2R that it would actually interfere with the sales of Metroid 2: The Return of Samus on the Nintendo 3DS eShop, since that is still being distributed at this time.
Yeah, as of recording this podcast, it is on the eShop for £4 in the UK. I don't know what it is on the American eShop. I would assume like $10 or something.
I don't know, but if you get yourself 30 coins through My Nintendo after buying some digital games from their eShop, then you can actually get it for free from their service.
Not bad.
Yeah, that is not bad, but yeah, I mean, just with Metroid 2 still being sold on the eShop, that's where the guy who created another Metroid 2 remake, that's where he found himself in that position to where he was in hot water of it getting taken down, or the download links taken down, and from other websites like Metroid Database, for instance. And other projects too, like The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time 2D. Someone was actually doing a 2D sprite-based remake of Ocarina of Time, and that was going to be another PC title. But then again, with Ocarina of Time being sold on the Wii U and Wii Virtual Console, as well as Ocarina of Time 3D being sold on the 3DS eShop. Yeah, that's...
As well as still physical, from what I've heard.
Yeah, and it's still...
I think there's still cartridges being produced for that Ocarina of Time via the Nintendo Selects.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, so that project also got in hot water, too. And even Super Mario 64 HD, which only showcased one level of Super Mario 64, which is the only project that did not see full completion, which, is, Nintendo was well ahead of the curve at the time. But, that was another one of those projects where it was just showcasing only one level of Super Mario 64, which was Bomb Battlefield.
From what I feel Mario 64 HD was more or less a tech demo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of how Nintendo could do a Mario 64 HD. It weren't really infringing on anything, because of the fact it was only Bomb Battlefield. But in Nintendo's eyes, yeah, they just it seemed like a stupid kind of like I can't put it into the best way possible. It just seemed like it just seemed really dumb to just stop a tech demo.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a point of concept.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just a point of concept. It wasn't really made in mind to actually, make a full remake, or it could have been. But at this point in time, it was just only showcasing one level, and it wasn't really like the guy was trying to make money off of it or anything. But then again, he did use Super Mario 64, and I think the reason why for the DMCA claim was because that certain assets were from other Mario games, like Mario's the 3D model for Mario
from
Galaxy.
What was Brawl? It looked
or Brawl or whatever.
Because I think Mario's model for the tech demo was a bit more darker, so I think it was based on Brawl's Mario model. Because I know there was another tech demo with like wall jumping in that, and the Mario did look like it was from Brawl there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I think that was like Brawl Mario, and then you had the music, however, was not a straight rip of the N64 version.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually done by T. Lopes, who is the composer for the Padoga West games. And is the composer of Sonic Mania, so...
Oh, of course. Okay, and the third golden rule, which in order for a fan project to actually be okay from not suffering any copyright claims or any DMCA claims, which is also the one that kind of is in complete alienation towards the Pokemon Uranium, but we'll get to that as soon as we get to that. And that third golden rule is that the fan projects have to be original works. They cannot use assets or any established games that are already being made that, if they were to be a remake based on those games that have already been made and not to be done for money. If it was, say something like the
Pokemon Uranium definitely.
Yeah, like I said.
Although I did notice some like Pokemon Uranium, there is some sprite similarities because in the start of town you see like the same sprite they use for the fat guy you see by the pond and all that. So there is like some sprite usage in Pokemon Uranium that is from I think it'd be Pokemon Fire Red kind of sprite look.
But if the guy who made the Metroid 2 remake, if he wanted to avoid making sure that his own fan-made Metroid game was not to be taken down, and if he wanted to base on original work, then since at this point where we haven't even heard of any game that takes place after Metroid Fusion, I figure he probably would have had a better chance of making a game that takes place after Metroid Fusion, but from his own perspective, because that actually would have made sense, to see from his own mind how he would see the series move forward after that game. Because in Metroid Fusion, we know what happens at the end of that game, where Samus became an outlaw because she destroyed the biological research station in space, which housed the Samus X, or the X parasites, as well as Samus X, who were very deadly. Was a very deadly, from the form of a very deadly parasite that could actually ravage the entire universe. And Samus wanted to make sure that none of them actually got out of the BSL research station alive, and to make sure that most of its kind ends up becoming extinct. And, since with her going against the Galactic Federation's orders, that would actually brand her as a fugitive or outlaw or criminal in their minds. So,
But now, basically, right? Sorry to cut you off, Kyle.
No, it's okay.
Basically, if Nintendo now wanted to do a new Metroid game, and they can do it after Fusion, here's a name for it: Metroid Fugitive.
Yes, or they could have just called it Metroid Dread, how they were supposed to, work on the next game after.
Or bring back the Dread code name. Like, you could just call it like Metroid Fugitive or Metroid Dread.
Exactly, because you gotta realize at this point too that Yoshio Sakamoto, the guy who is mostly the head of the Metroid franchise, or the head producer of the franchise right now, he says after Metroid Other M, he has no desire to return to Metroid anytime soon, as he's still working on the WarioWare games and that kind of stuff, because he actually finds more interest in that. So it's like, if this guy is not going to be responsible for bringing us any more Metroid games under his own belt that he helped create in the past, along with the others like Gunpei Yokoi and those others who worked on the original Metroid, which Sakamoto was a part of, then why not let another development team or let somebody else, work on a new game that could actually, set the series in the right direction? Because, even though you're not sure where to go in the future, it's not really hard to look at others' works for inspiration. Yeah, and I think that's, I think that's where this guy who worked on the Metroid 2 remake, he probably would have would have been okay, as long as he made his own sprites, which he actually did, make a vast majority of everything from the level design and the sprites. I would say, albeit except for Samus in some instances, but when it came to like the Metroids and some of the brand new enemies we haven't seen, yeah, those were completely original. But if he were to do something like what happened after Fusion, then I'd say he'd probably have a good chance to where it'd still be okay. But it is what it is, as Nintendo took it down because he obviously based his work on a game that's already been worked on by the main company. So it was inevitable to where he was going to get a DMCA claim based on that. Now, at this point, I'm just going to, to end off the Metroid 2 remake section, and as I said, what Nintendo has done for this and how they have been poorly handling the Metroid series, especially when it comes to Metroid Prime Federation Force, which, not a lot of people have shown interest with because of not only how it looks, but basically with the fact that it's not a main series installment. It's like at that point, you're starting to believe that Nintendo surely does not know what to do with the Metroid IP, kind of like how they don't know what they are doing with the Star Fox IP, as they're pretty much leaving it to go back into a dormant hole, which I think they're doing the same thing for Metroid. It's like one of those. It's like one of those things where they need to get out of their comfort zone with how much money they are making on some of their other properties. Like Super Mario, The Legend of Zelda, Pokemon. Yeah, I mean, sure, they are your most profitable franchises, but when Metroid came out alongside Super Mario Brothers and The Legend of Zelda, aren't those supposed to be the Triforce of IPs that you have under your belt that's supposed to represent your company, Nintendo? I mean, if you're supposed to do that, then you probably would have, continued working on more Metroid games at this point. Since there is still a dedicated fan base and still a dedicated number of people who still enjoy the Metroid IP to this day, and even those who still enjoy the 2D-based games.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that was also shocking. Like, even though it got a fair bit of flack, Metroid Prime Hunters was actually quite tolerable on the DS.
Yeah, it actually looked good for the DS, because when you take a look at Metroid Prime Federation Force, that looks like something you would also see on the DS as well. It doesn't look like the game has been made from the ground up using, and from, pushing the 3DS to, like, the new 3DS to its technical limits or whatever. Because
it doesn't even push... Yeah, because it doesn't look like it will actually push either 3DSs to the limits.
Mm-hmm.
Games that push the old 3DS to the limit, Monster Hunter Generations.
Yeah.
Metroid, Federation Force doesn't really seem like it. It just seems like they've got the Prime Hunters engine, made Blast Ball to be like a Rocket League kind of knockoff, and then just made it like small mech kind of thing. You're like, yeah, it's just.
And with it just being a.
Tell you what, we haven't heard from Jerry for a while.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So, Jerry, your final thoughts on Metroid 2, another Metroid 2 remake, and what Nintendo should do for Metroid in the future.
God, Nintendo should at least put their ear to the ground. I don't know what to say about them. You know what they're like to me. Since you guys are talking all technical, I'm the guy who dumbs it down. all that could just be said for Nintendo is they put their fingers in the ears and just go la 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 la.
That's basically what they're doing.
That's what they're doing with the fans.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And I didn't even get to play the game because I already knew about Nintendo. Like, Nintendo's going to take this down. Nintendo just doesn't care about fan projects at all. You're somehow robbing them of money.
Any videos on it though, Jerry?
No, not even. I've seen Uranium. I haven't even seen Metroid videos.
The best bet I would say in terms of like seeing a lot of gameplay from it is Find Source to Full Source, Vinny playing it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because he normally uploads about 2-hour streams of it. So
you mentioned
you'll see
Sega.
a lot of time of that game.
You mentioned Sega. Sega has changed, which is funny because Sega, for a point in the past, was like, "Oh my God, Sega, what are you doing?" Because Sega would also take down. You remember the Streets of Rage remake?
Yes.
They took that down, although there are still ways to get it if through methods,
Yeah.
But they took that down too, and it's just like, what are you doing? But Sega has started to learn. It seems like Sega can actually learn, but Nintendo's years in this, they're still doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sega actually even, like Dana said, sorry.
I had no idea you were female.
Could be a guy's name.
No, I think it was because of the audio glitch just happened.
Oh, okay.
Like Dane said, Sega has hired fan creators to work on their actual games. Like Nintendo, you could at least do that if you're gonna.
Yes, you should at least acknowledge,
recognize talent.
Yes, at least you should recognize talent, because if you continue to be this archaic towards the modern times with how the internet has become more mainstream and how much more dedication that people have been towards, giving better and stronger publicity to some of your IPs, even the most dormant ones, it's eventually going to lead to your downfall if you continue to not listen and continue to be out of touch with reality like this.
There you go.
Because that's the same thing with what happened with, I think, CBS and Fox, especially when it came to the Star Trek fan site as well as the Simpsons fan site, that were immediately taken down by those two companies, where they received huge negative backlash toward their executive decisions, and then they kind of loosened up on that to where, which, Blaze the Hedgehog made a point to where that's why both CBS and Fox are actually embracing more of the modern era in this day and age, because that actually gives stronger publicity to their most popular shows that they have in the market. With CBS it's Star Trek, and with Fox it's The Simpsons.
Yeah, I'll tell you what we're going to do with this episode of the Rift Table Arcade is we're going to put a link to BlazeHedgehog's video in the description, and you can get an idea of this whole thing as well.
Yes, we will. We'll definitely put that in the description in this video, so definitely be sure to check it out when this video goes up or when you hear us talking about this. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically our talk on Metroid 2 Remake. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the Nintendo Power Archives. Now, this one I am very questionable towards Nintendo's decision about, because not only does the Nintendo Power magazine covers 50% of the magazines cover their games, and their own advertisements, but the other 50% is from third parties with their own games and their own advertisements. So I really don't see why, and not to mention that Nintendo Power is no longer in print and no longer active because of Future taking it down, and with Nintendo no longer making the magazine anymore, it's like you're at that point where, Nintendo, why would you take something old down that you basically have no control over anymore if you just ended it? I mean,
the magazines are, like you said, they're out of print. So doesn't that mean legally they're obsolete? I'm not a lawyer, but
yeah, they're completely obsolete in this day and age, and there's no way that anybody is going to get a Nintendo Power magazine, unless if you did something like ease people's fears and say, hey, we understand that you like the Nintendo Power, everything through the Nintendo Power archives, but we do have something big in plan for Nintendo Power in the future. So if you did something like that, then at least you could, quell people's fears and justify their fears and their hatred towards you for doing all these inexplicable things of what you're doing right now, basically. Because just going by that same cookie cutter answer, say an outside source doing this will potentially hurt our IPs as we're very protective of them. It's like, no. Especially when it comes to Nintendo Power Archives, because that's old stuff, and Nintendo hasn't done jack squat with Nintendo Power ever since
they can't make a
they
profit
gave it to Future. Yeah, they can't.
So why even bother?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
It's if any it's just making history keeping history alive,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Well, yeah, if you aren't going to keep history alive, then what good is it killing it?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's basically what Nintendo are doing. They're like taking a gun to their foot and blasting the toe off.
Exactly.
Don't mean to be graphic, but
well, we know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is probably the only one, aside from Pokemon Uranium, where I am highly questionable towards Nintendo's decision on this because of the reasons that we mentioned. So, like I said, if Nintendo did something to justify people's fears, like what I just talked about, then yeah, that's valid. But just going by the same cookie cutter, reason why they had to take it down, that's gonna put a negative light towards you if you just only say it that way. Kind of like how you're not doing anything to wish the Metroid franchise 30th birthday or anything like that. So that will bring us to the last part, which one I'm kind of in the dark about, which I think Dane and possibly Jerry has more to talk about on this one, and that's Pokemon Uranium getting...
Well, if you're going to go on about Gunner Silver, I don't really know of his channel that much. I don't really listen to video game music rips. So,
all right,
that's the next topic we're on about.
Yeah, but it'll be a very short one too. But yeah, Pokemon Uranium.
What haven't I said about it? During the beginning,
I was just going to say, and I've said a fair bit about it.
Yeah. But this is the one I said that even though this one is probably the most original that came out of,
like we
mentioned, mind, but still getting a DMCA claim.
Oh, I made sure not to use your assets. I made sure not to use your characters. Oh, but I still get a claim. All right. What?
Yeah.
9 years, too, man. Same thing with the Metroid one. It's, 10, 11, like you guys said?
Mm-hmm.
To work all those years and make sure that legally you're not using their characters and still say, hey, no. I wonder if he can actually fight that or not. I'm not sure. I know that they are within their rights because it's Pokemon name, but besides that, I wonder if he could still say, I used the name, but everything else is mine, so it's technically my IP in these parts, or no, it's still our IP, use our name. I have no idea. Lawyers out there, comment.
Definitely.
We'd love to know. Because I am talking out of my butt. I have no idea. I'm wondering, can he fight it if it's mostly his IP with the characters, but not his IP with the name of Pokemon?
Well, based on his own creation and not just by the Pokemon name, because if Nintendo goes by their stance and saying it's just only the Pokemon name, then that's a very weak excuse, in my opinion.
Because I wonder if a court could say, yeah, but he used his characters in his own artwork and his own story. I wonder. Again, please comment, lawyers, and let me know. No, you're wrong, Jerry. Okay, fine.
And with all these fan projects, like the Sonic games back in the late 90s coming about, Sega didn't even lift a finger with any DMCA claims on them because they weren't, based on their own works. They were completely original materials.
Yep.
So
yeah.
And so it's like, why?
I wonder if it's
Also,
their Kyoto-ness or what.
It probably is their Kyoto-ness.
Because that makes me wonder, is it NOJ and not NOA after all? Yeah.
Or NCL.
Whatever.
There was a point that the Sonic Amateur Games Expo even had, someone from Sega talk to the fans and that, saying, what is it to make a game for the Sonic franchise?
Mm-hmm.
And all that. There was actually a point where they got someone from Sega to be there. All this stuff. But yeah, it is kind of weird with Nintendo. I just don't know where to begin.
I don't know where to begin either. But all this work for 30 hours of gameplay, and even with all new, even most of the Pokemon were all brand new in Pokemon Uranium, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're Fakemon. They were his own story.
Yeah.
Pokemon designs.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we still got Gilva Sunner to go through.
Yes.
We actually have a comment, for our feedback section. Like I said, leave comments. We'll read them.
Yes,
This is actually a good comment.
Exactly. And last but not least, Gilva Sunner. For those of you who don't know who's this YouTube user, Gilva Sunner has been posting OSTs of Nintendo games on his YouTube page, and very good high quality too. Mm-hmm. And if anybody needs to take a listen to some Nintendo games in case they can't get access to the soundtracks from Amazon or any or PlayAsia or any type of other website, then they can always refer back to this source, his own YouTube page where he posts the soundtracks on. But
also goes for Sega games and so on. Exactly.
And but he got a couple of copyright strikes from Nintendo as of recent because he had music from the newly opened Kirby Cafe in Japan.
This is where I'm confused. Okay, YouTube is notorious for going after video game music. Like, YouTube themselves say if you're a Let's Player, try and not use the music from the game. And that way you won't get a Content ID match.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten a few on my personal channel, Content IDs, from my stream of... remember that stream I did for Extra Life?
Was that the Final Fight 3 one?
No, that was... I streamed on my PS4 a couple games for Extra Life. I streamed Sleeping Dogs and Korra and all that.
Oh, okay.
And when I put the archive up on YouTube, Content ID, I'm like, well, wait a minute. This is streaming from the PS4. Y'all still gonna hit me? This.
Yeah, but you also got to remember too that they do have their automatic bots.
Yeah, exactly. They're bots
on there.
So because I think for one of the games, it says, oh, you used this song that's not even for Sleeping Dogs. It's like, it has this song in here. So it's like, this song isn't even part of the Sleeping Dogs soundtrack. What are you talking about?
Oh, that was the same with me and Saints Row Get Out of Hell. Like, in the credits, there was a song and something flagged it.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm like, wait, what?
So it's funny how he didn't get flagged for any of the actual video game songs, but for, like you said, the Kirby Cafe, which I'm trying to figure this out because I'm like, wait a minute. This is like flagging elevator music. It's just background music for a location that we're not in Japan. Well, a lot of us aren't going to go there. What, you're telling us we got to go to Japan just to hear this music? This background music?
Yeah, and you doing this is going to make people want to go to toilet cafes instead.
How does that stop you from getting profits that somebody's listening to music for a cafe?
And, people are going to
taking away your coffee sales?
And people are going to take pictures of what they have of the Kirby Cafe, take them to the toilet cafes, and just kind of spray all those poo creamery on the pictures. Just saying that your cafe is shit if you're going to do something like this. And yes, toilet cafes, they do exist in Japan. So for those of you who are just, shock and awe and just wondering about the random toilet humor, well, there is a reason behind that.
I know, but it's just the way you just kind of toned the episode down. We were an intelligent and somewhat up there episode.
Oh, what are you talking about? We're still intelligent.
Now, usually toilet humor brings the thing down. It's kind of low. It's the lowbrow form of comedy.
And don't worry, the poo from the toilet cafe is actually just chocolate ice cream.
Goodness me.
I know. What
Japan.
are you thinking? Get your head out of the gutter, man.
Japan.
Only in Japan. which those cafes are very popular, from what I heard. But anyway, back to Gilvasunner.
So this guy gets copyright strikes on that, which isn't even a game. It's something that most people aren't even going to be able to go to. So what the people that are listening are not people who are like not going to all of a sudden. If they're in Japan, they're probably going to, like, if they're in America, they're not going to go. So what's the point? They're not. It's not taking your sales. It's not.
Unless if you plan on opening up a Kirby Cafe in the United States.
Is that why you did this?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But I mean, it's like the Streets of Rage remake. Going back to that, it's like, well, you guys keep going after it, but you guys aren't making any new Streets of Rage game, unless you are.
Mm-hmm.
I hope. Jeez.
Yeah.
They actually gave Atlas of all, when they acquired Atlas, they were like, hey, you want to bring back legacy IPs? We're not going to stop you. So I'm just like, Atlas? Maybe.
Yeah. New Thousand Arms. New Snowboard Kids.
Is that Sega?
The fact that
Atlas.
Fact that Streets of
I
Rage.
was saying that Sega told Atlas that they could bring back Sega's legacy IPs.
Oh,
which is kind of
Golden
weird.
Axe 4. Oh, not just Golden Axe 4, but Shining Force 4.
Yeah. I was going to say, right, Project Cross Zone 2 has Axel from Streets of Rage.
Yeah,
appear.
which is why one of the main reasons that and Shenmue, and I was like, and they're both solo units.
Mm-hmm.
Ryo and Axel, which I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if they were a team.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
But
Oh yeah, see, like Streets of Rage does still get some respect, although it went from Sega in terms of Project Cross Zone 2, but it was more like Namco and Capcom, but still, it's got some respect.
It's funny how Namco cares more about Sega legacy IPs than Sega.
Yeah, that's ironic.
You got Cross Zone which is made by Namco and Monolith. It's like it's got all these Sega IPs I want to see back. Streets of Rage, Shenmue, Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter did get a new.
It's the same with
trademark.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, it's the same with Nintendo and the Capcom thing with Monster Hunter.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Because Fire Emblem's got DLC, Star Fox got DLC,
Metroid,
Zelda, Animal Crossing, Metroid.
The Murasame Joe from the Great Murasame Castle, I think.
Yeah, see, also Jerry was asking me earlier, when is the Strider DLC coming out? According to the MHGen database app, because it's already got the information for the Strider outfit, it could be in the DLC coming the first Friday of September for Monster Hunter Generations, so keep an eye out there, folks.
Okay. So the two songs that were from the Kirby Cafe, they had to get removed down.
And they were strikes, not even if what I'm hearing right, not even Content ID matches, straight up
just
strikes.
Straight up strikes, yeah.
Which is crazy, Nintendo. Jeez. Calm down.
Seriously. Which brings me into the conclusion part, because this is where we need we need a comment on what Nintendo needs to do in order to not continue this same path, because if they continue this, it's definitely gonna, put a bad message on them in the long run, and people are gonna continue.
Nintendo.
Yeah, it's gonna ruin their image, and people are gonna stray away from them.
That's one thing Sony has that and Sony isn't doing great. Even though they're doing good in sales. I mean, like, there's still plenty they can work on. Mm-hmm. Because that's the thing, is like, I'm a fan, not a fanboy. But one thing Sony has is image. The image they have right now is, with a lot of other gamers, it's like, oh, well, they're letting me do this and that. All right. Microsoft is getting better at that, way better than when it started. So but Nintendo here, their image is getting dragged through the mud right now. Nintendo, you got to think about image as well. You can't just think about. Public image is important. PR is important. That's why they have whole departments for PR.
I was listening to IGN's podcast Unlocked the other day, because I was just browsing through podcasts to listen to, and they went, "Oh, what are Nintendo doing? Oh, never mind Nintendo. They're just doing their own thing over there in the corner." I'm like, that does pretty much sum up Nintendo.
Yeah.
I was like, Sony and Sony and Microsoft are trying to pick a fight in the playground, and you just see Nintendo sitting eating paste or whatever.
Yeah.
Nintendo. So in short, Nintendo is the Ralph Wiggum of the video games.
Eating paste, and where their intelligence is actually going down the shitter.
So my final thing, because we're already like an hour and 33
minutes. Okay.
So my final thing is, Nintendo, you've got to think about your image too. You can't just think about money. Well, you do, of course, think about your business. I get that, but you can't just think about it in like a robotic way of just give us your money. We have legal rights. You must do this. Like, you have to think about your public relations.
Yeah.
You know that PR department you have? Fire them all. Get new people, because you guys, you guys need help in that part, man. That's where Sony and even Microsoft, I will give them credit, because they almost had me in E3 with how good they've been doing. Like, those two companies are getting it together. Why can't you? You don't have to do the same thing in terms of your system. I'm just talking about how you present yourself to people, to the public. Right. And that's me. What's your final comments? Because like I said, we got some feedback for once.
Oh, cool. And for me personally, I agree with you, Jerry, that Nintendo really needs to get out of their comfort zone and start embracing more of what people have done that actually does a good that gives them a better image for them, and not just be complete assholes toward them, because doing that is going to damage the brand even further. And they really need to start looking at these fan-made projects as a benefit for them, because, like I said, there are people that still prefer like the retro style of games instead of just, you know, the older games that are getting re-released through like the eShop and all that. People want to see something brand new that's in the same vein of something that they actually liked in the past, kind of in the 2D format. You know, the sprite-based format. So, you know, if you looked at the Metroid...
Which Sonic Mania does good.
Exactly. They really should be taking notes from Sega on this, especially on that when it comes to Sonic Mania, because if you came out and quelled people's fears and said, hey, we understand your frustration of us taking down the remakes, but we actually have something good planned coming up in the future that includes them as well. Stay tuned for more details. If you did something like that, that's a good way how you're answering people's concerns. Just staying quiet is, you know, a lot of people saying really bad things about you. That's why you gotta open up to everybody. You can't be silent towards everybody and pretend that you're still all macho. I mean, sure, you're still making money, but, you know, that's not gonna last forever if you keep doing this, because, you know, word of mouth coming from you, that's still gonna paint a bad image if you continue down that same path you're in, and it's going to affect not only software sales but hardware sales in the future, especially for like future ones, kind of like with the upcoming Nintendo NX. If you continue to do stuff like this, because like I said at the beginning, this is not a good time for you to bring about a bad image for yourself, because you are having a new console coming out, and you want to do everything you can to make your image really strong in this day and age. But it is what it is. So Nintendo, you better. In the end, I'm just going to say you seriously need to lighten up. Seriously, when it comes to fan creations, because that actually could be a benefit towards you and not as a threat. Do not think of these people as a threat and thinking, "Oh, they're better than us. They're better than us. Then we got to, take their fan projects down." It's like, no. Just think of the benefits that could help you in not only the short term, but in the long term as well. I mean, it's not hard. It's not a bad. It's not going to hurt you to look at these for ideas and inspiration and possibly great benefits for you in the future. You got to open up more. That's all I'm saying. You really got to open up. You need to get out of your gray area, because if you continue to be out of touch with everybody and out of touch with reality, even going forward, it's not going to paint a pretty picture for you in the future, and it could potentially lead to your downfall. You know how the whole Nintendo Doom thing, how people like to joke about? Well, it will become a thing if you continue to let them win like this. So, yeah, Nintendo, seriously, lighten up. And Dane,
I think I've said quite a lot on it throughout the podcast, so... I don't really have an ending comment aside from what Jerry and Kyle have both said. That just Nintendo needs to just take a super mushroom and grow the hell up.
Hey, Nintendo, it's not 1983 anymore, and Yamauchi is not president anymore.
Exactly. And besides, all your stock from Yamauchi or shares from Yamauchi no longer exist, so you should be able to actually grow up for once.
So you don't have to act with his draconian rule anymore.
So yeah.
So you ready for that comment, or?
Yeah. What's the comment?
It is now time for comment time.
Our mail. So you can leave a comment right in our videos, or you can send an email to the IkariCast, because that's the main show. It's on another channel, but you can. It's like, wait a minute, what? That is the Game Riffers. That's the email I use for the Game Riffers as well. So you can send one to theikaricast@gmail.com, or just leave a comment.
Yeah.
You can also send an email there again, like if you want to, but you could just leave it. Me and Double R are both signed into the email, so one of us will see it.
Exactly.
And we'll all, and matter of fact, I even replied saying, "Hey, we got your comment. We're going to answer it." Anyways, the comment is from FL21ID. I believe that's what it says.
Okay.
And it reads, and I quote, "Since ReCore is coming out soon," this was on our Mighty Number 9 episode, that's why it's flavored to
okay.
"Since ReCore is coming out soon, do you think that people are going to stay away from anything Keiji Inafune puts out because of Mighty Number 9? I mean, the game is going to be produced by him and developed by former Retro Studios employees." End comment. Funny enough, this goes back to the thing of image. Inafune's image is now through the mud.
Yeah. I honestly do believe that ReCore is not going to do well in terms of sales because of how bad of an image. Because of how bad of an image that Inafune has unleashed toward himself because of the whole debacle with Mighty Number 9. Because he got way too ambitious, like we've been saying before in that past episode. He got way too ambitious in trying to make a franchise out of Mighty Number 9 instead of testing the waters with the game at first to see if there is the demand for a franchise based on that property. But nope, he got way too ahead of himself and wanted to make not only a CGI and live action movie.
Yeah, he was bit off way more than he could chew. Like, let me do all this at once right now. Like, whoa, dude, slow down.
And not to mention that during the localization and just like the post production of Mighty Number 9, he did a new Kickstarter for Red Ash: The Indelible Legend. And for the funny part is that that game wasn't fully getting funded by everybody because of him starting a new Kickstarter way too soon. But he actually got a publisher to actually fund the rest of the game. So it's like, what was the point of actually doing a Kickstarter for that to begin with when you already have somebody who will back you up in the end? So yeah, that was the big problem with what Inafune unleashed right there as well. With all that bad publicity he's been having ever since Mighty Number 9's development, with all the delays and all the broken promises, as well as the most strange and questionable decisions that he has done within those past few years after the Kickstarter was fully and successfully funded. Yeah, I really don't have any hopes for ReCore in actually doing well in terms of sales. Now, if you want to still buy ReCore, that's fine, but at least show your support to Armature Studios and not towards Concept.
Isn't it funny how it goes back to image? Even it might be a good game, but because of image, people are already they're burned. They're like, well,
if you're gonna buy ReCore, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when you talk about the game, like off of social media and that kind of stuff, say that Armature Studios actually did a much better job. Don't even mention anything about Inafune because of all the shit that he done as of recent. If you want his publicity if you don't want it, don't give him any publicity at all, because that will get the message toward him saying, hey, you done goofed up, man. Definitely.
Like I said, if you're somebody who's listening to this and you have a company, remember your image. Always remember. Now, even if you have a good product, if you look bad in the eyes of the public, well, guess what? They're not going to want to buy it.
Are any of the
You're still going to look bad.
Yeah, exactly. And now,
regardless of how good your product may look.
Now, are any of us going to buy ReCore? Well, with my Windows 10 PC, I definitely am. But
I don't have a PC or Xbox. What am I talking about?
I am definitely going to buy it, but I'm only buying it to support Armature Studios, not Concept, and that's who I give my recognition towards, and not Keiji Inafune himself, the slimy bastard.
Even what's his name?
I'm on the fence.
Hideki Kamiya. Yeah, the guy on Twitter too, which he is mostly the infamous for being an asshole towards everybody. It's like it's gonna ban everybody who puts him in the conversation because of so many of the tweets he gets on every day, as well as using Twitter every day. But whenever he does something that's in relation to his work, he's actually the most professional and he's the most understandable. But when it comes to trying to interact with him on Twitter, he's a complete dickhead.
Go ahead, Dane.
I said for me, I'm on the back burner of getting Recall. I mean, I don't have the disposable funds to get it. Like once September comes, I'm picking up a few games, and that's like basically it for Q4 2016. So I don't know
see how good it is from other people.
Yeah, if Recall piques my interest, then yeah, I'll get it to support the folks that partially worked on Metroid Prime.
Armature Studios, yes.
Because of Metroid Prime being one of my favourite Metroid series, going back to the Metroid chat earlier.
That's the game is playing on screen for this episode of Rift Table Arcade, the first Metroid Prime, at least on the GameCube.
I was just going to ask what Metroid Prime, because first one's like so sweet.
Yes.
No,
second one's just as good, and then third one was
I remember
here
playing
and there,
the first
except
one.
the motion gimmicks were a bit too tacked on.
Although it did have good ideas, especially when it came to a first-person shooter aspect, using the the Wiimote as your reticle. And
I remember playing the first
that
one.
Was actually pretty good.
Yeah, because what
liking
was
it,
that?
even though I got motion sickness.
What was that? What was that sword game they had on the Wii?
Red Steel?
Something.
Red Steel?
I think that was
Red
it,
Steel,
yeah.
the one where you play the Yakuza, fighting against Yakuza.
And the sequel, you were playing a spaghetti western samurai cowboy.
Remember Zan for PS1?
Oh God, that's a long time ago.
You mentioned Samurai Cowboy. That was, yeah. And he had his sexy combos. Sorry, you brought back memories. So I was mentioning Samurai Cowboy, and I was like, oh yeah, Zan.
Yeah. But what was Dane? What was the rest of your comment about Metroid Prime, or was that it?
Yeah, I was just saying how much Metroid Prime 3 felt it was still good, but it just felt somewhat weird to me because of all the motion control gimmicks that they put in, like the...
I can see where you're coming from.
Bring the nunchuck forward to do this, and then put it back and twist it to do all this power noding stuff. And I'm like,
yeah, I can definitely see.
I'm like, this is innovative, yes, but
just unnecessary.
To do it so, yeah, it was just like so tedious every like time you needed to do it. And you're like, this is boring now.
Anyway, anybody else have to comment about the guy's question?
No.
All right.
Let's play of Rising Zan.
And after all our talk about Nintendo being complete dick and being the no fun police, I think it's a good time for us to actually wrap up this episode. What do you all think?
Yeah, definitely.
Indeed.
All right. Plug time. So, Jerry, you have anything to plug?
Oh yeah. Go to facebook.com/FighterXaos. You get links to everything there. FighterXaos. My Twitter, twitter.com/Ikari Radio, IKARIRADIO. And the Tumblr is the same name, and like I said, the Facebook links to pretty much the only thing I would need to link to are like YouTube videos. So if you need links, they're in a Facebook, except for that one Tumblr, which I don't think Facebook would allow me to link. But you could just ask. Ask me on Twitter, what's the name of that Tumblr? I'll tell you.
Ask and you shall receive.
It's not like I said, it's more, it's not explicit random stuff, but it's still definitely not 18 plus. Definitely 18 plus. That's me. Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
Twitter.
me, all right. Anything else?
No.
Okay. For me, you can find me on youtube.com/RRPG reviews. Like I said at the beginning, I'm still working on my Final Fantasy retrospective with episode 6. I just started post-production on it to where I'm finally making the whole video. It's about time, too. and I hopefully want to get it out before Final Fantasy 15 releases on September 30th, if it's still on track for that release date. But if it's not, I'm going to be a sad puppy. But, I at least want to get it done so that way I'll have some time to take a break from working on the series to work on more of the scripts for future episodes, because I'm starting to get to the point where the number of episodes I'm working on with the scripts are starting to get minimal, so I need to work on some brand new ones and for future episodes, at least up until I get to the point of Final Fantasy 14 online, because I still haven't judged anything since with Final Fantasy 15 not out yet. I haven't really judged, played through it at all to, work on a script or anything for that episode when that eventually comes out in the next 2 or 3 years, whenever that is. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube.com, and I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. You can find me Double RPG Reviews, my fan site, or the fan page for the Facebook group. You can find me on there. Don't update a whole lot. I really need to, be updating at some points in time, which I try to do, but when other things come into my life to where I actually try to, update, I have to work on something that's very important to actually get it done. But yeah, you can find me on there. But other than that, be on the lookout for more content coming from me in the future that you won't find anywhere else, whether if it be a new retrospective that I'm thinking about, other retrospectives as well, like a Golden Sun retrospective, possibly. Yeah, you heard it here, folks. That's a maybe. You can also find more 2 cents videos coming from me. Still working out a possible time when I could actually start working again on the Let's Play channel of mine, which is Double RPG GameRiffers Solo, which I'm still surprised I haven't even gotten far with that, which I've been thinking of what the image I want to bring about, which
Mom.
I think it's something that's Ninja Turtles related that I've been having in my mind for quite a while, but I'll have to see if I, go on with that. But yeah, find me on here. You can also stay glued with the GameRiffers channel, and hopefully we can get back to Thousand Arms sometime pretty soon. And I may get started with Brave Fencer Musashi, my PS1 game of my choice, since, Thousand Arms is Jerry's favorite, whereas I think Lunar Grandia is Jeff's favorite, and Brave Fencer Musashi is my...
Lunar's my favorite.
Oh, Lunar's your favorite, Grandia's his, and mine's Brave Fencer Musashi. Oh, okay.
I'm playing Thousand Arms, so still.
Yeah, but yeah,
Lunar's my favorite.
Okay, but yeah, hopefully we'll get to that soon. But yeah, stay glued and stay golden, folks. And you, Dane, you have any plugs?
I don't really do much except for my Twitter being twitter.com/emergingcorpse, which is IMMERGINGCORPSE. I am thinking of changing that to my Twitch name, which is Omega Mario, just so it's easier branding, but sometimes I just can't be bothered. But
yeah, I know what you mean.
For YouTube, I don't really upload that much on YouTube because reasons. Well, one being lame computer. So if there's any like gaming stuff that I do, so like well, Double R asked me if I wanted to be in this episode. I was going to stream tonight. Well, the night that is being recorded, I was going to stream something on my Twitch, but I decided to be here instead. And well, it's more better that way. But yeah, my streaming channel is twitch.tv/Omega Mario, and I often stream off my Xbox console, but sometimes, depending on the PC's CPU at the time, I do stream off the PC. Mostly old games. Like I've streamed Crash Bandicoot, the whole series off of there, and
yeah.
I have streamed like Phoenix Wright at one point, like so that's
objection.
It can vary what I stream. So,
which, by the way, we're all looking forward to Spirit of Justice on September 8th.
Oh goodness, yes! I've not even completed Dual Destinies yet.
Yes.
So I need to.
I'm ready for.
And
I've
been watching the anime, which you can find on Crunchyroll. in case anyone's wondering if they want to know where they can watch the Phoenix Fight anime. It is on Crunchyroll.com. I think that's what the website is. So
Yep.
yeah, I don't have an affiliate link because I'm not that popular, but one day, hopefully I will, because I love watching stuff on Crunchyroll. It's so good for anime. Especially Attack on Titan. Oh, yeah.
Anything else?
No, that's just it. My Twitter and Twitch.
All right.
Like I say, YouTube is Omega Mario 17. I can't upload anything to the computer.
Yeah.
But like basically, if I do upload anything to my YouTube, it would just be Twitch archives, which I might start enforcing from September. So keep an eye on this space.
All right. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening to us today, and Jerry and Dane, thank you so much for being on this episode. This is something that I wanted to do for ever since the news of these things coming out this week, so I figured this would probably be a good opportunity to us get in our 2 cents about this and what Nintendo should do in the future. But it was good to be a part of this episode.
No worries, man.
Well, all right.
Absolutely. All right, folks. So anyway, as we said, we all hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay on the flip side for more for more videos coming from us in the future. And we shall see you next time on another exciting and stellar episode of the Riff Table Arcade. This is Double RPG, signing out. Later, guys.
Conroe.